Party people and magic makers, Destiny here on this magical Monday for you. I am a little bit early, but it happens sometimes where the message that's coming through needs to come through right now, and that is what we are experiencing today. So as you know, every Monday I come at you with a Magical Monday mindset video so that you can take it and throughout the week work on this little snippet. And then that way you can start like really exploring and expanding your mindset and growing it. And as always, if you know of anybody that might like this video, please feel free to share it with them. And if you have anything that you want to share or to say about this video, comment below. I respond to them all. So, today, I wanted to chat about last week's video. So that was where I was talking about all of the different ways that we get stuck. So there was perfectionism, overwhelm, judgment, there was fear of success, fear of failure, there was devaluing yourself, and then there was the not enough or the not good enough. So there were 7 different ways. And I cannot tell you how many times somebody contacted me saying, well, what if I have all 7, Destiny? Then what? What do I do? This is such a beautiful question, and I want to first off thank you so much for having the willingness to ask that question, because it inspired this video. And so here's what I have to tell you. How do I get rid of all 7? How do I change all 7? How do I operate even if I have all 7? And there's one thing. Isn't that great news? One thing that you have to do. That's it. You ready? Stop buying into those lies. That's it. That's all it is. So now you might be sitting there going, what? Destiny, what do you mean, these lies? All right, so here's how this works. You got a bullshit story. You've got 7 of them, okay? And so when you have a bullshit story and on top of that you got 7 of them, you've bought into lies. You have decided that now these lies are your truth. So stop buying into them. Okay? Here's how a bullshit story is created. As a kid, we're listening, we're watching, we're paying attention. Nobody is sitting there explaining to us what's going on because we're just kids. So we're putting things together in our head. Now, sometimes what happens is we buy into somebody else's bullshit lies. Somebody says something, we're like, oh, that makes sense. I've got to do it too. How many times have we done that? Okay? So we're listening, we're watching, we're paying attention, and somebody says something, we're like, oh yeah, that's gotta be true. So then we own it and we take it in as our own. Okay? Another way we do it is we just make up our own bullshit because it supports us in that moment. Okay? And I remember doing this. I did not prepare for a report in school. And so I told the teacher I was really, really shy. And I didn't want to go up to the front of the room and I didn't want to share. And she was like, okay, I'll give you another day. Well, that shit worked, didn't it? Didn't it? So because I was shy, now I didn't have to do the work. Now, did that hold true my entire life? Nope. But it worked that one time. So in my mind and my brain, I'm like, gotta be true. So I bought into my own bullshit. What? Okay. Now, here's the one that happens most often and most frequently. You buy into somebody else's bullshit, and then you own it, you take it, you fertilize it, and you make it your own. And then you're so proud of it because now it's a part of you and it's a part of your identity. And now, like, no one else can take it away from you because it's yours and you've done so much work on it and you're so proud of it. It's still a bullshit lie. Still, you just took somebody else's and you made it better. You took somebody else's bullshit story that they were telling and you're like, ooh, this is a good one. I'm going to mold it to fit what I want. Still a bullshit lie. So stop it. Stop believing in them because they are not true. They are simply not true. So how do you go about stopping the believing in something that you've probably been carrying around for decades? If you can go back and there is an event, a memory that keeps replaying for you, it's probably one that you're not super proud of. It's probably one that you wish something different happened. It's probably one where you're like, shit, I had a really great comeback after I left this situation, or I wish I could have done this, or I did that instead. Go back to that memory. There's some bullshit stinking it up. Because that is the memory that is supporting the evidence and giving you more evidence to fertilize the bullshit plant you got going on. You're building a bullshit beanstalk when you do shit like that. Yeah. Okay, so go back to that memory and look at it. Was there something that you learned? Something else, not just that you're feeding into the bullshit, but was there something else that you learned from it? Even if it was way later, but this question, this event, this thing that happened, later on you're like, oh, well, it came from this. It stemmed from this memory over here. And it turned into something that was actually pretty good, but you hadn't realized that yet because you weren't looking for that evidence. Take a look. Go back and just like, okay? And then once you do that, go back to that memory and replace it with something else. You're like, what? Okay, so here's an example. And I recently did this one. I found that I was really annoyed by my mom being a teacher, which like sounds funny because I love working with teachers. However, back as a kid, she was always working with other kids, right? Like she was helping other kids. But when it came time for me to do my homework, she's like, "Well, did you look it up for yourself? Did you try it out for yourself?" And I was always like, "You're helping all of these other kids. How come you're not helping your own?" That was my bullshit story that I created from that scenario. Okay? So I went back to that memory because it was a very specific one. I remember struggling with like calculus or trig or something, like it was math. And I like math and me were like not the best of friends back then. And so it was with math, and I remember the whole scene. And I went and I was like, well, did I learn something from it? And I was like, yeah, I did. I learned how to be really independent. I learned how to ask for help. And I would call my friends and I'm like, yo, I'm stuck on this. Can you help me? And they would. So I not only learned how to ask for help, I learned how to receive this help, right? And I was like, okay, well, why don't I take that back into the memory? And when my mom did the whole, well, did you go ahead and check for yourself? I was like, no, Mom, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to call my friends and ask for help and receive help. And that memory shut off. It no longer had that sting to feed into my bullshit story. Instead, it was a positive where I was like, no, I did ask for help and I did receive help really quickly this time here. So now it's feeding a different story. And you can do that too. And isn't that amazing that like, that's it. We reframe it in our brain, we retrain our brain, we do a different connection in our brain, and voila. We feed a different story that is serving us, not a bullshit one. And you can do this too, okay? You can do this too. And if you would like some support in it, go ahead and let me know. Comment back on my, reply back to the emails that you're gonna get today if you're on my list. DM me if you want. And we'll like play with this and see like what can grow from this instead, right? Because we can turn our bullshit into really amazing fertilizer for stories that serve us. What? Yes, we can. So let's do that. Let's use our bullshit stories to fertilize the stories that serve us, because that's what we get to do now. And that's what I love doing. Okay? So let's do that, all right? Comment below if you have any, DM me, whatever that looks like. And until next week, peace.